Please don't kick me. I'm already hurt. The words barely escaped Clara's lips, soft as a dying breath. She knelt on the cold hallway floor, bruised hands trembling, body bent like a broken flower. Every breath felt like knives stabbing her ribs. The drunk enforcer's boot hovered above her, ready to strike. His face twisted with anger, veins bulging on his neck, but he froze, not because of her plea. Because of the man who had just entered the hallway. Step away from her. The voice cut through the air like ice. Deep, commanding, deadly calm. Clara didn't dare look up. She heard expensive shoes clicking against marble, coming closer. The air grew heavy, suffocating. Even through her fear, she felt it, power. Raw, undeniable power. Mr. Russo, I can see what you were doing, Tommy. The voice was closer now, right above her. The question is, why? Clara's heart hammered against her damaged ribs. She knew that name. Everyone in Chicago knew that name. Damian Russo, the man who owned half the city, the man whose word was law in the underworld, and he was standing 3 feet away from her. She was spying, boss. I caught her, was she? Silence, heavy, terrifying silence, then she felt it. The gentle touch of a hand under her chin, tilting her face up. Clara's eyes met his for the first time, and her breath caught, dark eyes, sharp jawline. A face carved from marble and shadows. But it was his expression that shocked her, not anger, not cruelty. Something else. Something that looked almost like recognition? Stand up, he said softly. Clara tried. Her legs shook so badly she almost fell. His hand caught her elbow, steadying her with surprising gentleness. The moment his skin touched hers, she gasped, not from fear, but from the warmth, the unexpected care in that simple gesture. You're hurt. It wasn't a question. His eyes scanned her face, her neck, the way she held her ribs. How badly? I'm fine, don't lie to me. His thumb pressed lightly against her wrist, checking her pulse. You're terrified. And you're in pain. Clara's defenses crumbled. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was the gentleness in his voice, so different from the monster she'd expected. I got mugged last week, she whispered. 3 cracked ribs. I couldn't afford a doctor, so I just kept working. Something flickered in Damian's eyes. Anger, sympathy? She couldn't tell. He turned to Tommy. And the temperature dropped 10 degrees. You were about to kick a woman with broken ribs. I didn't know, you didn't ask. Damian's voice was silk wrapped around steel. Marco. Vincent. Take Tommy outside. Teach him about our policy on workplace violence. 2 shadows materialized from nowhere, grabbing Tommy by the arms. His protests faded as they dragged him away. Clara stood frozen, alone with the most dangerous man in Chicago. What's your name? He asked, his voice gentle again. Clara. Clara Mitchell. Clara Mitchell. He repeated it slowly, like tasting wine. Then his eyes widened slightly. Have we met before? No, sir. I've only worked here 3 months. But he was staring at her like he'd seen a ghost. His jaw tightened, then relaxed. When he spoke again, his voice carried a weight she didn't understand. 4 years ago. August, the farmer's market on Randolph Street. Clara's world tilted, the memory crashed into her like a wave. An elderly woman collapsing, clutching her chest. Clara catching her, calling 911, riding in the ambulance, holding her hand, whispering prayers until help arrived. That was your mother? Damian's expression transformed. The cold Mafia boss melted away, replaced by something raw and human. You saved her life, he said quietly. You stayed with her when you could have walked away. You refused any reward. You disappeared before we could even thank you properly. He stepped closer. I've been looking for you for 4 years, Clara Mitchell. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I just did what anyone would, no. He shook his head firmly. Most people walk away. You ran toward trouble. That matters. That matters more than you know. He pulled out his phone, typed something quickly, then looked back at her. My mother has talked about you every day for 4 years. The angel who saved her life. The girl with kind eyes who held her hand and told her she'd be okay. His voice softened. Tonight, I found you. And I'm not letting you go. Clara's breath hitched. What do you mean? I mean you're under my protection now. Mine and my mother's. He said it like a vow, unbreakable and absolute. No one will ever hurt you again, Clara. Not in my club, not in this city, not anywhere. I don't need, yes, you do. He gestured to her ribs, her bruised wrists, the exhaustion written on her face. You're working 2 jobs to support your little brother. You can't afford doctors. You got mugged and kept working because you had no choice. His eyes burned into hers. Those days are over. Do you understand? Clara couldn't speak. Couldn't process what was happening. Damian's expression gentled. Go home tonight. Take tomorrow off, paid. And the day after, my mother wants to meet you. She's been waiting for years to say thank you properly. I can't just. Yes, you can. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a card. Heavy black stock with a single phone number embossed in gold. This is my private number. If anything, feels wrong, you call me. Day or night. Promise me. Clara took the card with shaking fingers. Why are you doing this? Damien was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice carried a vulnerability she hadn't expected from a man like him. Because 4 years ago, you showed my family that goodness still exists in this world. You reminded us that not everything is a transaction. You saved my mother's life and asked for nothing in return. He paused. In my world, Clara, people like you are rare. And when you find something rare and precious, you protect it. Always. He started to walk away, then stopped and looked back. You whispered 5 words tonight that stopped Tommy's boot. Please don't kick me. I'm already hurt. Do you know what I heard in those words? Clara shook her head. Honesty, raw, vulnerable honesty. No manipulation. No drama. Just truth. His eyes held hers. That's who you are, Clara Mitchell. And that's exactly why you'll never have to beg anyone for mercy again. Not while I'm breathing. Then he was gone. Clara stood alone in the hallway, card clutched in her hand, her world completely transformed. The Russo estate looked like something from a dream. Manicured gardens, iron gates. A house that spoke of old money and older power. Clara stepped out of the car, a sleek black vehicle that had picked her up at noon, and felt completely out of place in her simple dress. Clara. A woman rushed down the front steps, elegant and beautiful despite her 60-something years. Silver hair, warm eyes, and a smile that lit up her entire face. Isabella Russo, the woman Clara had saved 4 years ago. Oh my dear child, let me look at you. Isabella cupped Clara's face in her hands, tears streaming down her cheeks. I've dreamed of this moment. For years. For long years of wondering if I'd ever see you again. Mrs. Russo, Isabella. Please, call me Isabella. She pulled Clara into a tight hug. You saved my life, sweetheart. You held my hand in that ambulance and told me everything would be okay. Do you know what that meant to me? What it still means? Clara's throat tightened. I just did what anyone. Stop. Isabella pulled back, still holding Clara's hands. Everyone keeps saying that, but it's not true. That day, dozens of people walked past me. Only you stopped. Only you cared. Her voice cracked. You're an angel, Clara. My angel. And now that I found you, I'm never letting you disappear again. Lunch was surreal. Homemade pasta, fresh bread, stories about Isabella's childhood in Italy. The woman treated Clara like a long-lost daughter, not a stranger who'd helped her once. Tell me about your brother, Isabella said, pouring more wine. Danny. He's 17. Smart kid. Dreams of going to college, but... Clara's voice trailed off. But you can't afford it because you gave up your own education to take care of him. Clara's eyes widened. How did you? Damien told me everything. Isabella's expression was tender. Your parents died 3 years ago. Drunk driver. You dropped out of community college to work 2 jobs so Danny could finish high school. You've been supporting him alone ever since. Tears burned Clara's eyes. He's all I have left. No, sweetheart. Isabella reached across the table. You have us now. Family, real family. She slid an envelope across the table. What's this? Open it. Inside were papers. Scholarship documents. Full tuition, housing, books, everything Danny would need for college. Any college he wanted. I can't, Clara's voice broke. You can. And you will. Isabella's tone left no room for argument. You gave me my life back, Clara. Let me give your brother his future. Clara dissolved into tears. Isabella moved around the table, holding her while she cried, stroking her hair like a mother would. You're not alone anymore, Isabella whispered. Do you hear me? You're family now. Not because of obligation, but because I choose you to be. Because you have the kindest heart I've ever known. Because you deserve to be loved and protected and cared for. When Damien arrived an hour later, he found them in the garden, talking like old friends. His mother glowed in a way he hadn't seen in years. And Clara looked peaceful. Safe. Like she'd finally found a place where she belonged. She's perfect, Isabella told her son later, when Clara was out of earshot. That girl has a heart of pure gold. I know, Ma. You're protecting her. I am. Isabella studied her son's face. Damien. Look at me. He met her eyes. This isn't just about repaying a debt, is it? Damien was quiet for a long moment. No, he admitted. It's not. You care about her. I barely know her. That's not what I asked. He sighed. She's different. In my world, everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. But Clara? He shook his head. She's genuinely good, Ma. She helps people because it's right, not because she expects anything back. People like that are rare. And when you find someone rare, you protect them, Isabella finished, smiling knowingly. Yes. You do. Clara. She turned from wiping down tables at the diner to see Damien walking through the door. In his expensive suit, he looked absurdly out of place among the worn booths and faded menus. Every head in the diner turned. Conversation stopped. Rita, the owner, looked like she might faint. Mr. Russo, Clara said, heart suddenly racing. Is everything okay? Coffee? He slid into a booth, completely comfortable despite being the most powerful man in the city sitting in a rundown diner. Clara poured him a cup, hands trembling slightly. You didn't have to come all the way here, I wanted to see where you work. Make sure you're safe. His eyes scanned the diner, noting the peeling paint, the questionable neighborhood visible through the windows. How long have you been working here? 3 years. Since my parents died. Do you like it? Clara hesitated. It pays the bills. Damien was quiet, sipping his coffee. Then, what did you want to be? Before everything changed. No one had asked her that in years. The question hit her harder than she expected. A teacher, she whispered. Elementary school. I wanted to help kids learn, make them feel safe and valued. She smiled sadly. Stupid dream. It's not stupid. Damien's voice was firm. It's beautiful. And it's not over. I'm 23 and working 2 waitress jobs. That dream is very over. What if it wasn't? He leaned forward. What if you could go back to school? Finish your degree? Clara laughed bitterly. With what money? Mine. Her laugh died. What? Let me pay for your education. You finish your degree, become the teacher you wanted to be. Your brother gets his education through my mother's scholarship. Both of you get the futures you deserve. I can't accept that. It's too much, Clara. His hand covered hers on the table. Warm. Strong. Steady. You saved my mother's life. You've given our family hope and reminded us what goodness looks like. This isn't charity. This is family taking care of family. But I'm not. Yes, you are. His grip tightened slightly. Your family now. That's not negotiable. Clara stared at their joined hands, her world tilting once again. Why do you care so much? She whispered. Really? I know about the debt, but this feels like more. Damien was quiet. When he spoke, his voice was raw with honesty. Because when I look at you, I see someone who makes the world better just by being in it. In my line of work, I'm surrounded by darkness. Violence, betrayal, people who'd sell their own mothers for power. He paused. Then there's you. Working yourself to exhaustion to save your brother, helping strangers in parking lots, refusing rewards, being kind even when life has been cruel to you. His thumb traced circles on her hand. You're light, Clara. Pure, genuine light. And I've spent my whole life in darkness. Can you blame me for wanting to protect that? Clara's breath caught. This wasn't about debt anymore. This was something else. Something that terrified and thrilled her in equal measure. I don't know how to be in your world, she admitted. You don't have to change. I don't want you to. Damien's eyes burned into hers. I want you exactly as you are. Kind. Honest. Good. Don't let my world corrupt that. What if it does? It won't. Because I won't let it. He said it like a promise. Like a vow. You saved my mother, Clara. Now let me save you. From exhaustion, from struggling, from a life where you have to beg anyone for mercy. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll let me help. Say you'll accept that you're family now and family takes care of each other. Clara looked into his eyes, dark, intense, filled with something she didn't dare name. Yes, she whispered. Damien smiled. A real smile that transformed his entire face from dangerous to devastating. Good. He squeezed her hand once more, then stood. I'll have my assistant contact you about school enrollment. And Clara? Yes? You don't have to work 2 jobs anymore. Keep one if you want. Or don't work at all while you study. Whatever you choose, you'll be supported. I promise. He left $100 bill on the table for a $3 coffee and walked out. Rita materialized at Clara's elbow. Eyes wide as saucers. Did Damien Russo just offer to pay for your education? Clara stared at the empty booth, her hand still warm from his touch. I think he did. Honey, Rita whispered, that man doesn't do anything without reason. He cares about you. Really cares. It's just gratitude, no? Rita shook her head. I've seen gratitude. That wasn't gratitude in his eyes. That was something much more dangerous. Clara touched the pendant Isabella had given her. Hanging warm against her heart. Dangerous, maybe. But for the first time in 3 years, Clara felt something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. Clara's life had transformed in ways she couldn't have imagined. She'd enrolled in online classes, Damien had insisted on a flexible schedule. Danny had gotten into his dream university, full ride, no worries. She'd quit the diner and kept only her shifts at the Crimson Lounge. More out of wanting something to do than needing the money, because Damien had deposited $50,000 into her account for expenses and refused to hear any arguments about it. Family, he'd said simply. That word that had become his answer to everything, but what Clara hadn't expected was how often she'd see him, coffee at the diner, even though she didn't work there anymore. He'd take her there for breakfast. Lunch with Isabella once a week, quiet moments in his office at the club when the night was slow. They talked. Really talked. About her childhood, his responsibilities, her dreams, his regrets. About books and movies and the way the city looked at dawn, and with every conversation, every shared smile, every accidental touch, something grew between them. Something neither of them acknowledged but both of them felt. Tonight, Clara sat in Damien's office after her shift, reviewing homework while he worked on paperwork. It had become routine, comfortable silence, two people simply existing in the same space. Clara? She looked up. Damien had removed his suit jacket, rolled up his sleeves. He looked less like a mafia boss and more like just a man. Tired but content. Thank you, he said. For what? For letting me do this. Help you. Be part of your life. He set down his pen. These past 3 months have been different. Good different. Because you get to play benevolent godfather? Clara teased gently. No. His expression grew serious. Because I get to spend time with someone who sees me as just Damien. Not the boss, not the Russo heir. Just me. Clara's heart stumbled. That's who you are to me. I know. That's why it matters. He stood, walking around the desk. Clara's breath caught as he leaned against it, close enough that she could see the gold flecks in his dark eyes. Can I tell you something? He asked quietly. Always. That night, when I found you in the hallway. You said, please don't kick me, I'm already hurt. Do you remember? Clara nodded. Those words stopped me cold. Not because of what happened after, but because in that moment, I saw someone so genuinely vulnerable, so honest, so real. He paused. I've been looking for real my entire life, Clara. And then there you were, kneeling on my floor, bruised and terrified, and still more genuine than anyone I'd ever met. Damien, I'm not done. He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. The touch sent electricity down her spine. I told myself it was about the debt. About protecting you because you saved my mother. But that was a lie. What do you mean? I protect you because I can't imagine a world where you're not in it anymore. His voice dropped to a whisper. I care about you, Clara. More than I should. More than is probably wise. But I can't help it. You walked into my life bleeding and broken, and somehow you're the one who healed something in me I didn't even know was damaged. Clara's eyes filled with tears. I'm nobody special. Just a waitress, you're everything. He cupped her face gently. You're kind in a cruel world. You're honest when everyone lies. You're strong even though you've been broken. You're light, Clara. Pure, beautiful light. I don't know what to say. Don't say anything. Just. He hesitated, vulnerability written across his face. Just tell me I'm not alone in this. Tell me you feel it too. Clara's hand covered his, still cradling her cheek. I feel it, she whispered. I felt it since that first night. Since you looked at me like I mattered. Like I was worth protecting, worth caring about. You are. God, you are. I'm scared, she admitted. Your world will never touch you. I swear it. His forehead rested against hers. I'll keep you safe, Clara. Always. You and Danny and everyone you love. I'll build walls around you so high that nothing bad can ever reach you again. I don't want walls. I just want, what? Tell me what you want. You. The word escaped before she could stop it. I just want you. Damien's breath hitched. For a moment, neither of them moved. Then, slowly, carefully, he closed the distance between them. The kiss was gentle. Reverent, like he was holding something infinitely precious and terrified of breaking it. Clara's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer. All the fear, the gratitude, the growing feelings she'd been denying for months, everything poured into that kiss. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, Damien rested his forehead against hers. I never expected this, he whispered. Me neither. Your whispered plea changed everything. Clara. You changed everything. She smiled through her tears. Good different? The best different. He kissed her forehead, her cheeks, her lips again. I found you by accident. I kept you out of debt. But I'm falling for you because of who you are. The kindest, strongest, most beautiful person I've ever known. I love you, Clara whispered. The truth finally freed. Damien's eyes closed. His grip tightening like he was afraid she might disappear. I love you too. So damn much. Outside, the city hummed with life. Inside Damien's office, a mafia boss held a waitress like she was his entire world because she was the girl who'd whispered, "Please don't kick me," had brought a powerful man to his knees, not with manipulation or seduction but with something far more powerful, genuine, unconditional goodness, and in a world built on violence and betrayal, that goodness had conquered the most guarded heart in Chicago.